Hi, I'm Kelly Vaughn, and this is Inside Indy. Wow, what's going on in our nation? An opioid, not an epidemic, but a pandemic. And it's scary, really scary. In fact, statistics say that every 8 minutes, one person dies from an opioid overdose. And that's what we're going to talk about the issues, especially close to home, particularly here in Hamilton County, and some solutions to the problem. In fact, we think we have some very good answers for you. And joining us in the studio to help us with many questions, we have Mark Hierbrandt. You are the Hamilton County Commissioner, right? President.
One of the Hamilton County Commissioners.
All
There's
right.
three of us.
Three of you. Okay,
Yeah.
Welcome to Inside Indy.
Thank you for having
Thank you for
me.
coming in today. And then we have Joe Pappas, who is CEO of Emerald Neuro Recover, which is located in Carmel.
We just moved to a new spot in Carmel.
Okay, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Whoa, every 8 minutes somebody dies. What is going on? And I'll let Mark begin by telling us, where are we with this? What's going on in Hamilton County and really anywhere in Indiana for that matter?
Well, I have a unique perspective because the commissioner's job is a part-time position, but over the last 21 years, I've traveled the state, and so I work with a lot of counties, a lot of cities and towns, and so I get to kind of see what goes on in all these communities throughout the state. And I also sit on the Indiana Association of County Commissioners Board, and I will tell you, at our last conference, I represent the East Central District, and there's 26 counties that are in my area. I asked each one of the county commissioners, how many of you are either planning, building on, or planning to build a new jail right now? And every one of them raised their hands.
At Emerald Neuro Recover, as the CEO, what do you see? And tell us about this pandemic.
Well, we see families destroyed on a daily basis due to the opioid epidemic. We're seeing a lot of these people that are on heroin now, where they were started on prescription opioids. They broke a bone in sports or something, and they get prescribed opioids, and the doctor no longer is willing to write the script, but they're already addicted. So they're going to go out and find whatever's on the street, and unfortunately right now, the cheapest thing and the easiest access is heroin, which is, you don't know if you're really getting heroin. I mean, it could be a mixture of heroin and fentanyl, and God forbid, carfentanil, which is, for example, fentanyl is 30 times more potent than heroin. Carfentanil is 100 times more potent than fentanyl. So you get those drugs out there that are so potent that if you just take a little bit, I mean, these kids, that's how we're having the overdose problem.
Which was the case with Prince, right? The musician.
That's fentanyl. You are correct. That was fentanyl.
Your story, Joe, your son.
Yeah.
You were impacted directly.
Right. Again, I had a son that was just a great athlete, great young man.
What was his name?
Aristotle, Ari Pappas. And Ari was a three-time All-State football player at Bishop Chatard. He still holds the rushing records there. And great kid. Broke his wrist his freshman year in college, and I'm not sure he ever totally got off of them. But, he's like a lot of kids, they hide it well. He was probably what you might call a functioning addict. But that's what's scary. That's part of what I think in the educational process, we need to educate parents better, how to recognize what's going on with their kids.
The case of your son, what led to we know what led up to his demise, but what happened that particular time, that day?
It was just a typical summer night, and late summer night, and I was grilling, and the phone rang, and it was my son Angelo is 2 years older, and I couldn't understand a word he was saying. Really, only thing I heard was, "Ari's dead." And boy, that's just a call you don't, as a parent, it's hard to even fathom. I have no idea how I've even made it this far. But I think part of it is, honestly, is that my involvement, doing what I'm doing, gives me some fulfillment and gratitude, because I know because we've saved lives. We know we have, many, and that's really important to me.
So let's talk about how you save lives at Emerald Neural Recover, because obviously we've got an opioid problem, and there's a traditional method, which I think is it methadone? There's people think about drug rehab.
Vivitrol and methadone.
Okay.
Are two treatment options. Yeah.
Okay. But you're a little different.
Yeah, we're an all-natural substance. We provide NAD amino acids through an IV that's 6 to 10 hour day every day for the duration of their treatment, 10 to 15 days usually. And it's basically, we all make NAD. NAD stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, and it's a natural common compound. It's basically a coenzyme of niacin, vitamin B3, and it's essential for energy in every cell in our body. So with that, that helps excite the neurotransmitters that have been somewhat dormant. We don't think they're dead. We think they've just been dormant as the receptors have become opioid receptors. And so what we do is we very quickly, through high dose NAD amino acids, we restore the neurochemical balance in the brain. So we get the neurotransmitter receptors firing like they did before they ever touched a drug.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, we've just seen tremendous results.
So why do you think we haven't used this approach before now? Any theories on that?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. It's only been, I would say, in the last, and Mark can speak to this, I know the last two years, I think, where everybody's kind of been hit in the face saying, wow, we've really got a problem and it's out of control. And we got to do something about it now, because everybody was kind of, the methadone clinics and the Suboxone clinics and the Vivitrol. I mean, they've all had their places, but the problem was it wasn't restoring these young people for the most part, not always. I mean, we've had many patients in their 50s and 60s, but the problem was that we weren't doing anything to repair the brain or restore the brain. So they still have that addictive behavior, addictive personality. They still have cravings. They're scared to death of withdrawals. That's the number one thing that keeps these from getting clean. They're scared of withdrawals. And so by what we do is we minimize the withdrawals. We eliminate cravings. We eliminate anxiety and depression that's associated with drug use. So they begin to have joy and happiness back in their life. And I think that goes a long way.
Okay. And so I want to get into that whole treatment process, how you mentioned the IV. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll get more specific about that. And then I want to talk to Mark about how he thinks Hamilton County is doing in this whole effort to rehab our communities. Okay?
Absolutely.
When we come back. And we're back here on Inside Indy, and we're talking about the opioid epidemic in our community, and we have some solutions as well. And we're talking to Joe Pappas, CEO of Emerald Neural Recover, and Mark Hierbrandt, who is the County Commissioner for Hamilton County. How does this whole, you told us how NAD works, but what physically happens when a person comes in there? And again, these people are anxious. I don't want to go through those withdrawals. I don't want to go through that. So what happens? Just take us through that physically, what happens in the office.
Sure. They start every morning with what's called a Myers cocktail, which is high-dose vitamin B, high-dose vitamin C, magnesium, potassium, and some essential and non-essential amino acids. So that's just a vitamin drip that they start their day, and that really prepares their body to take the NAD aminos. And then we follow up with what's called glutathione, which is a very powerful antioxidant, which helps repair the liver and kidneys and damage done to the major organs of the body. And then we start right in with the NAD amino acids. And, there is, for the first 2 to 3 days, there's some stomach cramping and tightness in your chest and things like that. It's harmless, but it's uncomfortable. And so it's interesting because why it minimizes withdrawals, some of the reasons why we think that it minimizes withdrawals is because, that they're uncomfortable when they're getting the treatment. Now that usually goes away after day 3 or 4. And as their body starts to heal and get used to the treatment. And then by day 5 or 6, the days start getting shorter. Their body accepts the NAD aminos much quicker. And it's not uncommon for after day 6 or 7 for the days to speed up to 5 or 6 hour days. So that's really the process. And by day 5 or 6, they smile and they get their personalities back. It's so many times, Kelly, these people just seem like totally different people than the people that walked in the door.
Yeah, I remember someone telling me that someone from the clinic said, I sat down and had orange juice this morning with my son for the first time in 10 years. Just simple things we take for granted. Yeah. And so the life of the family members who, are being affected by this is, when you think about what people go through with an Alzheimer's family member, you think about somebody who has a person who's addicted, and a lot of us don't think about what they're going through and how they cannot necessarily, they can't even own that person or help that person. Is that what you see a lot coming through the community?
Kelly, that's so true. What you say is so true. I mean, it is has such a profound effect on anybody that loves that person. And there's no greater joy than to be part of that process of giving a family their loved one back. There's no greater joy.
And the fact that now there's hope they're not going to die.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so,
absolutely.
Mark, as far as Hamilton County goes and efforts to, and again, beyond Hamilton County in terms of rehab, what's happening there? Are you seeing progress in terms of helping people in the community?
I am seeing some progress. I think we can do a better job. I think we're still learning, and we're hungry to find alternatives like what Joe has offered out there in the industry. And so I think that there's a lot of focus right now because everyone's desperate to try to find out that magic cure for this. And so I think that we're doing a better job in regards to our sheriff and staff in regards to doing prevention, focus forums and things in our community, and also trying to reach some of the people in the schools. I think prevention's a major key to this. The other thing is what we've learned from a lot of the offenders that are in there for opioid addiction is we really try to focus on if they have family and trying to get a good structure and family support, as well as trying to help them get insurance too for counseling afterwards, try to help find them a job out in the workforce. And we've got plenty of people that are anxious to work with us to try to get people back up on their feet, which is very encouraging to see here in the community.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So
it's a lot. It's mind-blowing. And when you see how it's impacting so many people, and you've seen it on the internet, people passing out, publicly in places, and it's just really scary. So let me ask you this, Joe. When you mentioned this is a natural approach, what about the skeptics who, a lot of people think if it doesn't come from, and you're you're governed by a physician, so
Oh,
let's
yeah,
make that clear.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
but people think if there's a vitamin involved or niacin based, whatever, they just don't take it to heart. What do you say to them?
Well, here's what I'd say. I'd say that, of all the drugs out there that are out there on the market that have gone through the entire process that aren't natural, what they found is, and I guess Viagra is the best example I can think of, that was never the intent of Viagra. Viagra was for blood pressure.
I didn't know that.
And so, but they found the results, and and it was, it was an adverse effect. It wasn't what they were planning on.
Right. That's happening
So
a lot.
that's just very common in big pharma, and I think the reality is I think we're all turning more towards looking for natural ways for the body to heal, because nobody does it better than the man upstairs.
Yeah,
And
wow, good point.
and so. So I think at the end of the day, I would say to those people, first of all, we're going to be doing a clinical trial coming up soon.
Oh, nice.
And that'll be a third-party validation of what we're doing. And you're going to see more and more clinical trials. And so, once they all get validated, I think the procedure gets validated. I think that would put people more at ease.
Yeah. So, give us a couple of, maybe even one story from Emerald Neural Recover.
Well, the best
testimony.
story is Greg, who you've interviewed before, and the reason why it's such a great story because it's 2.5 years later. Here's a guy that came from a really good family. Father was Eli Lilly executive.
Wow.
He was a 14-year heroin user. In and out of jails. Hamilton County knows him well.
Mark is over shaking his head.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh
I
yeah.
know, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's an interesting statistic is 70%, like I said, of all the inmates that we have in our jail have some type of mental health or drug or alcohol addiction. And if we don't treat them right, it's not uncommon. We see them come right back. And so that's why I'm strong on prevention and making sure that we treat these people and not just throw them into a cell and they're not doing anything. We need to keep them
Get to the
active
root
and
of the
structured.
problem, and then that goes from that 70% goes down to 30%, which now we're dealing with
Exactly.
just people that
we
are doing
think
Exactly.
we can reduce
Yeah.
recidivism. I think Mark and I would love to work together and perhaps look at a program that reduces recidivism greatly. But as far as Greg goes, long story short, he's gone from living underneath a bridge downtown Indianapolis with the parents throwing bottles of water and sandwiches to him because they couldn't live at home anymore because they steal, they do everything they can for their next fix. Anyway, after.
Yeah, he said something about he was holding people up in Carmel.
Oh, it's horrible.
Wow.
It was horrible. Oh, yeah.
I don't
He'd
mean to
jump
laugh,
in
but
their
it was like, oh
cars
my
and
gosh, Greg,
Yeah.
right?
make them drive to an ATM. It was crazy. But here's the deal. Greg's now 2.5 years clean. He's getting married. He works for an engineering firm. He just got a raise. He's great. And you know what? He's the first guy to help others because he knows what it's like to be there. And so he's the first guy to, we can call him anytime, and he's willing to talk to somebody about the program, about what he went through. He's not shy about it.
Now, in a case like that, because a lot of people ask whether it's something like that or weight loss, they go, "Oh, am I going to go back? Does he have to have? Does he voluntarily go through any?" Every now and then, I just go through an NAD treatment just to kind of, as you said, even if you don't have an addiction, it's great for you.
It is great for you, but it's also lasting. And
Okay.
a part of that's the amino acids that we put in our particular formula. But
So he doesn't necessarily have to do that unless he just
no.
wanted to.
Very few people have to come back.
Yeah.
Wow, it is an amazing approach, and I know you've been getting some press. I know you've been on some of the other stations quite a bit, and it's getting national attention as well in terms of your efforts. But and I love what Mark said about prevention. It's that
Absolutely.
like how do we get to the root cause of this. And if we can stop that, we don't need so many jails.
Yep. No, I agree. I think
yeah.
Mark's right on that. I think if you can get them to stop before they start,
Exactly.
I think you're in much better shape.
Okay. So how can people find out more about that particular treatment?
Well, they can go to our website, emerald-neuro-recover.com. There's all kinds of information on our website. The other thing is, if they just want to look at testimonials on YouTube, they're all over. It just dial in NAD treatment, and you can spend hours and hours and hours looking at testimonials.
Okay. Well, thank you for your testimony today, and for both of you coming on Inside Indy. Mark Hierbrandt, who is our Hamilton County Commissioner, and Joe Pappas, who is the CEO of Emerald Neuro Recover, out there saving and changing lives in Hamilton County and beyond. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us
on Inside Indy. And thank you for joining us. I hope you got something out of that. Do take action. Call a friend. Spread the word. There is help. There is hope. I'm Kelly Vaughn. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
She is a singer-songwriter, recording artist, Emmy Award-winning talk show co-host, actress, dancer, and television personality. And, man, is there anything she can't do? It's Adrienne. Houghton on the line.
Hello.
Adrienne.
Good morning, Kelly. Okay, that was one of the best intros I've ever gotten in my life.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
To me.
I appreciate it.
Talk to us about your latest project.
I've got a lot going on, just working on the reel. It's been so awesome this season and getting ready for next season, especially as Emmy Award-winning talk show host. It's been unreal, surreal, and we're just really excited for the new season that's coming up in September.
Awesome. I love it. So now you started as a singer-dancer.
Yes.
Why is dancing so near and dear to your heart?
Dancing has always been a huge part of my life. It's been a passion of mine since I was a little girl, just performing. And, dancing has gotten me through a lot of things. I always say if I'm bored, you might find me in a corner dancing. But it also has gotten me through some of the mundane things that you have to do in life, whether it's getting chores done, cleaning the house, which is why I'm super excited about teaming up with Pine Sol to launch My Clean Moves. It's a super fun contest where you just post a picture of yourself on Instagram, dancing and cleaning, and make sure that you hashtag My Clean Moves and hashtag the contest, and make sure that you have a public account so that we can check out your pictures. And guess what? You can win $5,000 and a subscription to Pandora. So this is right up my lane, right up my alley. This is what I do. I remember growing up with my family on Saturdays. My mom would be like, listen, if we're gonna clean, we're gonna have a good time while doing it. She would play salsa music, and it just made the chores go by so quickly. You'd look up and be like, oh my gosh, I'm done. I had a good time. I got a little cardio in, and my house is clean.
And I'm with you on that, Adrienne. I do the same thing at home. I'll start working out, and then I'll say, well, why can't I get 2 or 3 things done at the same time?
Exactly.
So I'll stop and do a few things, and when you're done, it's like, wow, it's amazing how much you've gotten done and your workout in. So I'm
absolutely.
With you on that,
it definitely can make you way more productive. I use music for everything in my life. Even getting up early this morning, I'm like, put some music on, wake up, get in the groove of things. It's super helpful and helps you be productive.
Now, what music do you clean your house to?
I love Latin music because for me it's nostalgic the way I grew up. But anything that's up-tempo's got a great beat. I'm loving J Balvin right now. And I think, if I can get my groove on and dance to it, it definitely goes by a lot faster.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a big Bruno Mars fan.
Yes.
And some gospel music, too, to get my praise on as well.
Absolutely. So. That's awesome. You're like, Lord, help me get through this right now so I can get this house nice and clean.
There you go. Now, how do people, remind us again, how people can take part in this contest, to be a part of it.
So awesome. You just got to go on Instagram and again, take a picture of yourself dancing and cleaning. Then you're going to hashtag #MyCleanMoves and make sure that you also hashtag contest and that you have a public profile so they can all see. But you can get all more details on PineSol.com/MyCleanMoves. And to celebrate this awesome contest, PineSol is actually donating $25,000 to Dancers Against Cancer. It's a nonprofit dedicated to providing financial assistance to dancers, dance educators, and families that have been impacted by cancer. So this is a great cause as well, and I'm just super excited to be a part of it.
Wow, that is awesome. Just imagine helping people get healthy and to stay healthy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Adrienne, tell us, what do you want to do that you haven't done yet?
What I would love to create oh my God, I have so many plans. I would love to create a jewelry line. I just launched my YouTube channel that I'm having so much fun doing. It's called All Things Adrienne. And it's got a little bit of everything, a little entertaining, lifestyle, fashion, beauty, makeup tutorials. I'd love to launch a beauty line one day. So a lot of things hopefully in the work, fingers crossed.
All right. Well, sounds very good. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you so much,
about
Kelly.
this new cleaning project. I guess we have to call you the cleanup woman now.
I'm totally down for that. I love that. You know that when you come to my home, it's a nice, clean place.
All right. Adrienne Houghton, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Kelly.